come from a joint family, because it was not only in change of stepping out of the house, it was also going to be changed in the way I carry myself in my clothing standards as well. मारवाड़ी घर में अगर आप शादी करके जाते हो तो वो अंडरस्टूड है कि हमारे घर की बहू है, उसके पास में 10-12 काम है. I used to go to these networking meetings. I still remember. And I used to stand in the corner and not talk to people. It used to be like, I am so and so's daughter. How can I go and ask work? How can I go and tell that कि मुझे काम चाहिए? I was always a 2 a.m. friend to a lot of people. So the moment I started charging money for the same sessions, people moved out. I've gone for a period where I was on a zero income, friends moving away, people who used to always call me move away, and I was in that secluded place.
For all women to learn that it's okay if you're trying to figure out. And this is so relatable because when we are from comfortable families, you have to make your place. And letting them lose their control on you, it's very stressful at home. You know, वो घर
It's
की टेंशन कि यार मतलब ये हमारे कंट्रोल से बाहर क्यों जा रही है. To fight that is more difficult than fighting the people outside in the world looking for work. Hello and welcome to Rabbi Rashi Foundation podcast. Meet Rachna Mimani. She's the dynamic founder and CEO of Easytogether.com. She's a transformative ICF coach, psychologist, and an influential speaker. She also heads TAI Kolkata. That's true?
Yes.
आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है रचना.
Thank you so much, Rashi, for inviting me and having me here. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all ours, Rachna. Okay, to start with, what inspired your journey from being a homemaker to a successful entrepreneur today? You're into the mental wellness space as well. And what made you find and build this easytogether.com, platform?
The journey for me to become an entrepreneur, or in fact, even start working, was not until quite some point of time. So I think I got married very early, had my kids very early. So, and I think God blessed me with two girls. And those were the biggest inspirations for me to move out and start working, because I wanted my girls to be self-dependent, because, we being housewife, or, the earlier generations, taking those traditional role as women was okay. But what would happen in the journey, in the eras to come of, 2030s, or, by the time you move out in the world, it's 2050 almost. So for these girls to go ahead. So are they looking at that same conventional roles of staying at home, taking care of home, and, with being dependent, financially being dependent on, people around you, or either your father, brother, or whoever it is supposed to be. And though it's nothing to do with, that I don't have that background or whatever it is supposed to be, it's about the respect, the self analysis, and the self image that I wanted to basically help. And being independent in terms of financially gives you a lot of, self acceptance of who you are. For every nick and corner, you want to be asking money for it, and then you have to give explanations for it. It used to feel bad. So that entire, and I said, "Ki, itna to mere saath to chal jayega. This will go on with me." But what happens to these girls? Will they have such a partner? Will they have such a kind of a lifestyle that I live into and they move ahead with? And keeping all of that in mind, I said it's better, rather than telling them that you start working and you do this and you do that, instead of, why don't I be the role model in their life and set examples that you can be a wife, you can be a mother, you can be an entrepreneur, and you can actually have a career in your life. It is, it has come from a space where, when people always say that you cannot have it all, and I say, yes, you can have it all. It is just that little, support systems that you need to create around yourself to have all of that, and be enterprising, and and I think that's it. And moving ahead to the journey of the person I am today, to the fast forward, I have had amazing amount of failures. amazing amount of failures, teary nights, blood, sweat, and tears going down every day, breaking, those comfort zone of my own, accepting things, because world is not fair. And they will never be fair, and they will never protect you. They will always leave you hanging dry, and you have to find your own, you know happy place, happy comfort space, and your own reins for you in that space. So that was how Easy Together mushroomed. It took me 9 years of my practice to get to Easy Together today. And it just did not start with the small dream of having a platform where I could run with multiple counselors and talk about and drink. It came from a space where I actually wanted to get conversations back in people's life. When you are going through something, the best thing you can actually do with some people is to just have conversations where you can actually just listen to people. So that's where Easy Together started from, and that's the beginning of Easy Together. So that's how it happened.
So, I want you to tell us more on what exactly is the platform like.
Mhm. So, Easy Together is just not providing counseling and therapy to people. That's the core of the platform, but it is also very tech driven. It has technology on it, and it has a mini psychologist. Every time, every person doesn't likes to call somebody and ask him, "मुझे ये problem है, ये क्या हुआ?" So there is a trained AI system which helps you to get certain answers by yourself. You might want to just think aloud certain things, and you can just type it out there, and that's available both in Hindi and English, and in audio and type format. So that's the AI buddy that we have that you can connect to. Then we have your mood journals, which tracks your moods and gives you a sentiment analysis of where you are. So all you need to do is to write your heart out. If you're journaling, if you're not journaling, whatever. So it's basically, you can write things up. After you're writing things up, there is also something called as depression and stress trackers that we've installed. So you can take these tests to understand where are you on the scale of depression or on your stress and space. And to make everything, we also have a parameter which is called mental wellness score. It takes you on a month-long journey where you can actually keep track of how you are doing mentally. Where are you, increasing your stress? Where are you decreasing your stress? What is your productivity level? It takes, holistic view of who you are at that space and gives you a month long. After a month, it gives you an analysis of who you are at the end, right? And it also helps you tell that in case if you need a support, we are here to support you in whichever way you need that support to be, right? To make even matters more interesting, we included something called as legal buddy. Now, when there is relationships, there are sometimes legal compliances, right? So whether you are in a corporate relationship or in your personal relationship, and the way the nature of legalities are very complex, we've created something called as legal buddies and legal counseling for people, where you want to seek a legal resort to it. And you know, we always go by reference. We go. And sometimes, you just want to think it inside yourself whether you want to go ahead for legal counseling or not. You know, and I have, with an experience of so many relationship spaces and coaching that, people want to sometimes think aloud. What are my legal rights in the relationship? How aware am I in legal? Where I will be legally? Though there are a lot of platforms, there is a lot of reels now going on legal awareness of programs, but when it comes to one's own solution, you want one specific answer for it, right? So this legal buddy and the legal counseling helps you from that perspective. So this is how is entire Easy Together is created for people, where it just makes your life simple. We have counseling from parenting to your relationship counselings. We have corporate counselings where corporates can give the services to their people. They can talk about productivity, stress management, leadership, growing, and at an affordable price. So today if somebody wants to sit with a coach, and they will know a coach is going to charge me 5,000 to 6,000, well, bear me to say this, but this is the minimum price that it is there. But coming and getting it down to 1,500 rupees a session, where everybody, even a small level employee can afford that kind of a rate. So this is something not only revolution in terms of pricing, but it is also the availability of the service which is coming in from a very humanistic approach to people. So this is where Easy Together is and taking people to.
So I think there's a lot of great and a good work and a helpful work you're doing out there, Rachna. You just mentioned that all those bloodshot nights, those uncontrollable tears. So what has been the, because I know, देखो जो काम करेगा ना उसी को पता होता है कि वो रातें कैसे बीतती है, ठीक है। बाकी तो जिनको सब कुछ बना बनाया मिला है, इट्स वेरी इजी फॉर देम टू गिव लेक्चर, बट ऑनेस्टली
Mm.
जिसने काम किया होता है और खुद बनाया होता है उसके लिए एक बहुत ही अलग एक्सपीरियंस होता है। आई वॉन्ट यू टू शेयर दिस विद ऑल द women out there, that how you fought those challenges and what were the difficult challenges you actually faced. Over to you.
Okay. So I come from a joint family. All right. I had a joint family. Now though we are like I'm still with my in-laws, but we are not in that bigger Marwari joint family that is supposed to be there. Coming from a traditional Marwari mindset, right? So that was a huge change because it was not only in change of stepping out of the house, it was also going to be changed in the way I carry myself in my clothing standards as well. So from that to, having that sitting down and having that conversation, being absent from home was a bigger challenge because, once you're a housewife, they see you that you will be available at home. So telling them and asking them that, I will not be available at home all the time, that even if I'm working from home, I will not be available during certain period of times because crafting that space for you was very, very important. And challenges was not about so I will not say people are bad, it's the mindset which was there at that point of time, right? And for them to adjust to this new mindset was also not easy, you know because मारवाड़ी घर में अगर आप शादी करके जाते हो तो वो अंडरस्टूड है कि हमारे घर की बहू है, उसके पास में 10-12 काम है, तो वो शायद इंडिपेंडेंट है ना, फिजिकली बहुत ज्यादा इंडिपेंडेंट हो, चाहे बिकॉज बिकॉज आई कुड ड्राइव, आई कुड टेक केयर ऑफ सोशल्स एंड एवरीथिंग. द ओनली प्रॉब्लम दैट आई हैव इन माई सेल्फ was I was not very financially independent of earning my own money. So that was the only problem that I had with myself when I started into doing something and learning something. And for me, to sit down and have that daily Sasbahu conversation was not me. So I had, I'm, I'm, I'm a very introvert person at that, if you take into consideration. So when I actually started out, I used to go to these networking meetings. I still remember. And I used to stand in the corner and not talk to people. I used to pay for these meetings, stand in the corner, not talk to people, and it was so much out of my comfort zone. Ki, it used to be like, I am so's and so's daughter. How can I go and ask work? How can I go and tell that कि मुझे काम चाहिए? How can I go and tell कि है ना I need this because I want to earn money? Because money was a necessary evil. क्योंकि पैसे से कुछ नहीं होता. But you actually step out into the world, and the moment you step out, even that from point A to point B, you need money to go. So understanding that money is not the evil, money is something that you require, it's the fuel in your life, was the biggest change, right? Telling, if people coming and telling you that, अरे तुम तो सब पैसे के लिए करती हो या करती हो, या because I was always a 2 a.m. friend to a lot of people, right? So people used to call, ask for suggestion. Even their friends and friends used to come and ask for suggestion. So the moment I started charging money for the same sessions, people moved out. I've gone for a period where I was on a zero income, friends moving away, people who used to always call me move away, and I was in that secluded place, and I was feeling very bad because emotionally I couldn't take this. Because one day you have everybody talking to you, the moment you tell that I'm charging money for this, and if you want to come in for a session, let's come in and talk this out, I'll be happy to support you. And then people slowly moving away, and I started at what 500 rupees an hour with people. So I think which was an amount everybody could pay. People were paying so much in and around for a dinner, for a cocktail or whatever parties. For one dinner you go today, you would be paying 5,000 rupees for a dinner. And that 500 rupees people started saying, अरे ये तो है ना अभी बात करेगी तो पैसे लेगी. तो वो पूरा फ्रेंड सर्कल था ना वो पूरा खत्म हो गया. Now people stopped calling, and and I was feeling extremely secluded. And at the same point of time, I was leaving my kids behind and I was going. So that mom guilt was there. That having that ideal daughter tag was too much on me. Yes, because I was always available for my father. I was available for my in-laws every time. So learning to say no was the biggest challenge. Half the times, I would just do things because they want it to be done, or somebody wants me to do it, and somebody wants to talk about it. I would do it because I still wanted to be feel included, so called, and I would do things. And then I did not wanted anybody to say, अच्छा ये तो काम करने चली जाती तो घर का काम नहीं करके जाती होगी. So with all of that, I was struggling. And I was struggling all alone inside it. And believe me, when you struggle all alone, you make people around around you, their life miserable. So I was always irritated. I'd always at a time that I would start crying. So I was going through a bad phase emotionally, though I was, in a mental health space, keeping it strong. But when you are in an alone journey, it's a journey alone for you. And I think one day, my husband and me, we both sat down, we spoke out things to each other. And he says, this is really not working out. And that's the time when we both actually sat down, had these conversations. So, that was the biggest learning, that if you want something, you need to create a support system around it. And people who are your inner circle people, they are always going to understand you and they're going to make good for you. So I sat down, I had that conversation with my husband, I had a conversation with my mom in law and my father in law both. And, things eventually started working out, right? Even my kids were very small, but I actually sat down with them and had these conversations. So I'm happy that today, if I can juggle so many roles and be there for them, they know when to ask me for things and they know how to sort things out. But it was not built in one day. Even after that conversation, it was, you know, uh, कभी किसी का मूड खराब हो जाता, कभी कुछ हो जाता, saying no, not there. And Calcutta is a very social space. So if there is a wedding, there are 7 functions that you need to go and attend. Making sure not being there for those 7 functions and only attending the important ones and letting go of the others was a challenge. Saying that no, I will not be going for this. Or even if I'm going to come, I'm going to finish my work and I'm going to wear certain attire and I'm going to be there. So having an acceptance to certain this was a challenge. But I think eventually when you start putting your foot down, start with that clarity of what you want in life and what you want to achieve, I think slowly and slowly everything starts falling in place. And the most important thing was deciding to move out of that space. So that was a very struggled decision because, uh, you could get over every guilt, but you can never get over a guilt of your mom, that I am a bad mom. अगर उसके मार्क्स अच्छे नहीं आए तो आई वॉज नॉट देयर. अगर उसने खाना नहीं खाया, आई वॉज नॉट देयर. अगर उसको बुखार हो गया, आई वॉज नॉट देयर. Or, something has happened and she wanted me there, but I can't be there and I'm traveling for work or whatever. That mom guilt is always going to be there. So I think you can cover up with every other guilt of yours, but this mom guilt is something that which is very, very difficult to, come up with. So eventually now my children are old enough, they can take care of themselves now. But yes, that actually taught them a lot. It taught them to be how self-dependent on them, how not to make other people around them worry about certain things which are like, which they could manage. And today, I think with the availability of resources, it's become easier also that, even if you're not available for them in the physical space, at least you can make a resource available for them. Right. So it has become very easy. Today, you can communicate, you can have WhatsApp. When I started, it was not there. In 2011, 12, we never used to use our phones as an internet, right? We had those BBM had just introduced at that point of time and we were using all of that. and moving ahead in that process and the journey. So yes, the biggest decision was to decide what I wanted to do, which was a huge challenge, because when you don't have that clarity about, because ये तो डिसाइड कर लिया कि करियर बनाना है, काम करना है, फिर करना क्या है? You are 10 years out of that education. That education is it's completely irrelevant. I graduated in what, 2005, and by 2015 everything had become irrelevant. Even though, no matter what we did not have any concept of digital marketing in 2005. It has just been introduced. In 2015, the digital marketing agencies were running at a top space. So to rediscover myself there, that was entire whole lot of an entire journey to decide on the career that I wanted for myself. So yeah, that was it.
So when you are from comfortable families and married into comfortable families, and because you are out of that, that workspace for some time because you are making the family. Now, what usually happens, and I think this is for all women to learn, that it's okay if you're trying to figure out. You have to give your deaf ear to many, many things. Rachna, you won't believe I have a son who's 24. And वो अभी भी, because they see me working for 18 hours, 20, and they don't work for so long because they are into various other things. So they will just come and say कि थोड़ा ध्यान पे भी थोड़ा ध्यान घर पे भी दे लो, हम पे भी ध्यान दे लो. So I today I laugh it off, you know but I always but initially it used to, you should die, anybody could die of that guilt, like you mentioned, कि हाँ यार शायद मैं नहीं कर रही हूँ, you know and this is so relatable because when we are from comfortable families, you have to make your place, and letting them lose their control on you, it's very stressful at home. वो घर
It's
की टेंशन
really.
कि यार मतलब ये हमारे कंट्रोल से बाहर क्यों जा रही है. To fight that is more difficult than fighting the people outside in the world looking for work,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
think this is very relatable and this is beautifully explained by you, Rachna. No doubt you're a great speaker. You've just put the points together so well. Okay, now tell me, you are a coach, okay? And how is it different from the, traditional therapies you're offering? What extra and what new you've added? Let's hear.
So, I'm not only just a coach, I'm also a therapist. So it's a beautiful amalgamation of two power tools together, right? Because I'm also your listener. I can listen to you rant, but I'm also your pusher. I can help you see forward. Eventually, when I started counseling, I started with a diploma in counseling, and I started with career counseling and stuff like that. I was in the education center, but slowly and slowly, you discover your nation and idea. And then I started re-educating myself. So once I started re-educating, and once I started falling in love with the subject, I think it's more about, it's your own journey that you want to do, because no matter you become an entrepreneur or a designer or a therapist or a businesswoman, there is a passion and a purpose that you approach a business with, right? And there is a message that you want to fulfill out of that. So which is something was very important. So I really wanted to know, though I want to listen to people, help and support people, how? That was one of the biggest questions that I had. So I started with psychology, and where I learned, various techniques. I think when I started educating in 2014, I went over about, like, I was an educational wheel. I mean, like, I was learning, 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 learning without even thinking how I'm going to use it. So I started with CBT, NLP, transactional analysis, clever behavior. Somebody told me this is there for mental health and this is happening. I used to go and sit in that workshop, right? वो चाहे मेरे काम आएगा नहीं आएगा, आई नेवर थॉट. मुझे लगा कि मैं जाऊंगी तो मैं कुछ ना कुछ तो सीख के तो आऊं. So I started doing it. It took me, I think, 2 years, where I think I did over 15 certification in education, of where I also did my master's in psychology at that point of time. So I went ahead and did my master's in psychology. Having all of that, and I'm still wanting to do my PhD. So having all of that, learning different circles, and I think what I did beautifully with this 15 workshops or certifications that I did was it made me speak. It made me go through my own feelings. Because even if you want to become a therapist or a coach or thing, you have to deal with yourself first, you know, because there is for any therapist, and if I put it very simply, if you're hurt, you're going to hurt people more. So it's like hurt people more. Right? So you need to heal to be in experiencing that abundance. And you will never heal because somebody else is going to heal through you. That's the biggest myth that people have in terms of psychotherapy or counseling tools. Because you are coming to put somebody's puzzled thought together and join their pieces in a beautiful picture for them. And if you're wanting to give them a picture, you need to have that clarity of picture. So if you are in a confused mind, the other is going to be in the confused mind, and it's going to even tangle more. So that was what psychotherapy taught me, that you have to heal first and then heal others. So my past was this. And I wanted my, clients to get a little more out of the session. Because traditionally, psychotherapy is where you deal with the past feelings. And what happens is, after you're taking 2, 3, 4, 5 therapy sessions, you will eventually hit a block. Because, and it will feel very exhausting to go to the sessions. Because it's every time you're going to a session, you're talking about past feelings. You're going to a session, you're talking about past feelings. Whereas your current life is in a different space. So that's where I amalgamated coaching and psychotherapy together. That. So even if you're coming to my session and you're talking about what's been happening to you, how is it relatable today? What is the learning that you have from there today? What is it going to create an impact on you? And deciding whether you want to now let go of those feelings. So, which is a bigger space where I wanted to help people break these cycles of overthinking, getting over the same emotions, and not moving out of that. So I wanted this cycle to break for people, and that's where I combine psychotherapy and coaching together, and that led to the formation of the program, which is called Infinite You.
So I was just about to ask you about this program and its benefits and how you have, also the approach of inclusion in the entire program. How have you managed that? Over to you.
Um, so Infinite You program was designed for individual people, all right, dealing with their own fears, struggles, mindset, and their own blocked feelings, and helping them in the process of this journey, helping them achieve a a growth space, right? Today you might start telling people that when you think positive you'll grow, think positive you will grow, think, which is being ignorant towards certain things, being ignorant towards how you feel, being ignorant towards what's not working. So that's where Infinite You comes in. It says, in that finite life that you have, why don't you live in finite ways? How can you experience this one particular moment as joy and happiness and just enjoy the moment and be present in that moment? So, Infinite You was putting your infinite potentials in that finite moments of life that you have, and creating it as a memory bank or a strength bank or your faith bank, whatever you want to create it as. So that's where Infinite, and the benefit is basically it helps you to be, जो बोलते हैं ना, पॉजिटिव रहो, पॉजिटिव रहो, पॉजिटिव रहो, वहां से नहीं आता है. Positivity is all about having an approach which is growth oriented, which is open, which is with the abundance, and which is also a space where it lets go of a lot of things. It lets go of those, hunches, of those, emotions which were not worked on, those feelings, those hurt spaces. It also talks about letting go of them. It's how you become positive. Then you become curious towards it. How can you be that one interesting person and make sure that you are available or you're remembered by the others? That's a biggest challenge for anybody, right? How you can actually talk to that somebody in a networking meeting for a minute and be that, impactful space. It could be your voice, it could be your name, it could be any way, or it could be a joke that you crack and connect with them for. Right? So you need to understand what is your element, exercise it, and put it there. And that's where Infinite You comes in.
This is very out of the box, honestly, because there are many programs out there in the market, but giving that personal touch to help people is definitely you as Rachna. Okay, Rachna, I want you to give us some tips, to be a great leader, some skill tips. Um, it could be even one, but what is that very important thing to be a great leader?
You need to be a great listener and not just listen, right? So it's just not about listening. It's about also listening, assimilating, and actively listening, where you're not only just listening to the words, but you're also observing everything around. So as a leader, you need to be observant. You need to lead with empathy today. Those authoritative and the traditional styles of leadership is existing. People do work on that, but you are the solution provider. And it is as a leader's responsibility to teach them to be the solution givers in the forward space. So you don't only become a problem solver and telling, अच्छा ये काम ऐसे नहीं हुआ जाकर के ये काम ऐसे कर लो. It's letting the junior level learn how to reach to that problem solving, so that when they face that the next time, they don't come back to you. They will do this, and they will try four things before coming to you because they've been learning things from you. So as a leader, you need to be a good teacher. You need to be a good listener. You need to lead from empathy, and you also need to be an example setter. And you should be the person who can absorb the mistakes of your juniors.
Very nicely put. Rachna, what has been your experience heading Thai, Kolkata?
Uh, heading Thai Kolkata was, I think it just came to me very surprisingly. I think I had recently joined Thai, and I was doing a little work with one of my friends, and the space of women entrepreneurship of Thai was really weakened. And in fact, in Bengal, that entire concept of the women in entrepreneurship did not exist, you know. And I was an entrepreneur. When I needed help, I would not get anybody. And believe me, in this entire journey, the number of scams that I've gone through, it's it's not about not being able to judge or do things. It's sad. Sometimes your friends scam you at certain things. So, as an entrepreneur, you need to understand what is right, how to keep business as business, and how to not let go of certain things and just tell them that, this is what is not working or this is not working. How do you, because once you start out, you look for friends whom you are, and you start working with them and you telling them, ki, bhaiya, mujhe ye chahiye, wo chahiye. One thing that I actually gave me was to rely on entrepreneurs who had done it, have been there, and have had that same blood, sweat, and tears. And they come from a genuine space of helping others and giving back as a legacy. So that Thai came, and that's when I started doing with Thai. When I see so many women actually struggling every day, how do I take my entrepreneurship to next level? What are the certain things? What is the technical knowledge do I need? है ना, अगर ये ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस भी है तो इसको कैसे रन करना है, या यू नो, believe me, every girl that I have come in and they have started working with. So there are certain girls, they are like, हमने ये business यहाँ grow कर लिया है. Now I have to get married and I have to get married and settle into a different space. Will my husband accept the business that I have? So making their business grow digitally, taking them that transition into those traditional business into digitally, making that communication problem solving from them. From there to taking into hardcore businesses of technology and finance and growing was a huge space, because when I started mentoring and when I started pulling more women into the space, I was as new as anybody else. I did not have so many domains knowledge. And so there, as a mentor, you need to decide how much can I help the other, or how much can I become resourceable for the other to be able to get that kind of a feedback. So when I started heading, I started pulling women. And then, you know, every communication that I did with them was to talk about how are they connecting, talking, helping them connect, pushing, it was a lot of push that I actually had to do to get that pull back. So I had, now I think I started with what, like presence of 4 women in that entire Thai community. Now we have at least about 50 women who are there in last 3 years of work. And this year, I think I am expecting a cohort of at least 70 to 100 plus. So if we get a cohort of that space, I think I'll be in a very good space as well. So taking them there. So this was the journey. But now people have started recognizing that there is something called as women entrepreneurship, and there is a lot of support available, just which is specifically tailor-made for women, because women have different needs, they have different requirements, and we need to understand that. So that is it.
I think that's a great point to be taken from that women entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship, but of course, a woman who's leading a business has different kind of even perceptions, and fulfilling those perceptions and making deliverables easy for her is also a different kind of a study altogether. It doesn't run just ABCD kinds, just on a single um, this thing. Okay, so Rachna, what are your future goals? Where are you heading to now?
So my future goal is take Easy to Number Gather as a platform where people not only look for therapy, to be very honest, right? It should be looking for mental wellness. And I want every single person to not adapt to mental wellness in terms as a choice, but as a compulsion. So that's my biggest purpose from with Easytwogether. And these are just tools to help you be that, 360 degree sound in that mental space. No matter, wherever you are, you will experience the emotion that is in and around you. You will be sad, you will be angry, you will be this. I want people to accept such feelings without any fear. So I want that kind of environment where people experience everything and yet are empowered enough to take better decisions for themselves.
Yeah, this is very nice. And so, what is that success mantra? What is that gut feeling that drives you?
So I think I will not say that I have a success mantra yet inscribed for me, to be very honest. Uh, the one thing that came to me in this entire journey was I started with the purpose of becoming a role model to my children, and letting them see how hard I work and I be there, and and as you said that your children will be saying that you're not available at certain points of time, whatever, right? For me, it was more like it's not about the hard work that I put in towards what I do. It's about the purpose that I want to fulfill. And the biggest discovery that I had is your purpose and your goals are as changeable and as fulfillable. And as you grow, you need to expand that horizon. So it's like the way you increase the standard of your life, you also need to increase the standard of your purpose, goal, and giving back. And your give back should be more than, you know, at least, so if you're earning 10, you should be able to at least give back 12, because it is only going to exponentially grow in that manner.
Yeah, and I think all the successful people, we've had so many success stories on our show, and we understand they are great givers. You can't be successful without giving back. That's for sure. No matter how much you earn, what you do, but if you're giving back regularly, and you're giving back with your all that love and empathy, I think you will definitely grow and be successful. This is wonderful. Rachna, what is your one special message to all the brands and communities out there?
Be authentic, be genuine. Everybody wants to earn, and everybody is going to compete. How beautifully you can leave an impact on people's life is what is going to matter. So make sure that whatever you you communicate from the space of genuinity, authenticity, and also be able to deliver that genuinity and authenticity. So that's one message for every brand.
I must say, Rachna's unique approach and attitude is definitely making and bringing a change in the landscape of mental health care, helping people with professional and personal journeys. रचना आपका बहुत बहुत थैंक्स है कि आप आए.
Thank you so much, Rashi, for inviting me. And yeah, I enjoyed my time thoroughly over here. So thank you.